We're here at the former World War II airfield, now Snetterton Circuit. It's round 3 for the Thundersport GB Championship 2016.
Welcome to Thundersport Elite then from Snetterton in Norfolk. It's round 3 of the Thundersport GB Championships for 2016. We started the year off at Brands, then to Donington, now to Snet. We'll be at Cadwell Park next, but we've got some racing action coming up for you. As you can see, a bit of rain here this morning at Snetterton. That's not unusual if you're a Norfolk resident. It is Dan Taylor here, number 26 though, that lines up on the front row. There is Johnny Towers, or is it Eddie the Eagle? I can't quite work out. Some smashing goggles underneath the visor there for Johnny Towers, some Elton John specials. So we've got a gap on the front row, slightly damp, but we've got some Stocktwins, some Supertwins out there. Oh, blimey, Keelan Irwin there, getting the power down, number 69 on that Aprilia, really spinning up the rear wheel and nearly went into the pit wall. As we head into turn 1, number 111, Aaron Bradley it is that has the hold shot into turn number 1. Aaron Bradley, one of our Stocktwin runners. There is number 28, just going through. It's Teo Papadopoulos, and that's Dan Taylor, of course, the Stocktwins, former Mini Twins champion of Thundersport GB, heading onto the back straight. Johnny Towers leads the Super Twins Championship overall. Johnny Towers number 17, ahead of John Simpson in the Stock Twins. Coming into this weekend, Aaron Bradley here on your screen was up ahead of Greg Madero, who is currently 3rd overall. He's just behind Keelan Irwin. A few more riders going through your picture there. Number 99 there was Lee Winters, known in the paddock as the Lion Tamer, into the bomb hole, and Easy does it. Horrible conditions really, not quite dry, not quite wet. Aaron Bradley it is that has the advantage then with this blue bike and the pink wheels, number 111, and that Ride It Lad Racing Suzuki. Then it's the Scott Motorcycles Aprilia of Keelan Irwin, followed by the Madero Racing Suzuki of Greg Madero. Here comes Keelan Irwin then, and leads now. He's gone up ahead of Aaron Bradley. In 3rd place there is Dan Taylor. So Dan Taylor has got himself back in the frame again, the direct commercial Suzuki rider. He's quite familiar with the territory now in Thundersport GB, of course twice a champion, and familiar with a number of his competitors as well. He's been going from strength to strength over the last few years. The rider from Curtin Lindsay hangs out quite a bit with the Schofields from Barnsley, and so there he is in 3rd place with that red and yellow Suzuki. It's Keelan Irwin though on the Scott Motorcycles Aprilia that has the advantage. Keelan Irwin coming into this round 4th overall in the championship with a little bit to make up. 43 is Alex Platt on the Stamp End Garage Suzuki. Nice to see Alex out there always. Number 133 there is Ben Tolliday. That's another Suzuki rider. Johnny Towers, not seen too much from him so far other than his goggles on the grid. The Team Edge RST Kawasaki rider currently is just outside the top 6, and maybe not quite as comfortable with these conditions as the riders you're looking at on your screen. There's a change there for 2nd. Dan Taylor has now gone up into 2nd place. It's still Irwin here, the Irish rider that has the advantage overall. Number 69 from Donegal. And out there on that Aprilia 550. Of course, that is the bike that James Folkard won the championship on just last season. And that is the bike, just in 2nd, that won the Stocktwins Championship. Dan Taylor remains on his bike, of course. James Folkard is taking a year out, which is a shame. really struggling with funds, but a talented, immensely talented rider. James Folkard from Liverpool is having a year out of racing, but I'm sure we'll see him back soon enough. This is turning into quite a tasty battle out front between Owen and Taylor. This is the battle for third then. Aaron Bradley, here he is just up ahead of Plateau, and a rear end wobble then from number 111, Aaron Bradley, and that allows Alex Platt through around the outside. Back to the front we go into Murray's. Keelan Irwin with the advantage, Dan Taylor in second. You can see from the riding styles that conditions are not peak, shall we say. It's a good bit of slipstream there from Dan Taylor as he moves now into first place, down into turn one. Nicely done then from Dan Taylor. He moves up ahead of the Irishman. And so it's now Taylor that leads from Keelan Irwin. A gap then back to Alex Platt, Aaron Bradley and Greg Madero. Further back, Papadopoulos, Towers, Neil Schofield, Ben Tolliday, Gary Rodwell and Lee Sylvan are all up there fighting in amongst the points. Here is number 121, James Field, one of our Royal Air Force Motorsport Association riders, one of many in the paddock for this season. Dan Taylor, since getting out front at Ritchie's corner, has just stretched out a few tenths now over Keelan Irwin. There is Neil Schofield just up ahead of Gary Rodwell and 133 Ben Tolliday. Nice to see so many stock twins out there this year. We've always had a decent Supertwins grid, but a lot more stock twins out there for this 2016 season with Thundersport GB. None that are able to get on terms with the reigning champion at the moment, Dan Taylor. So good lap that time around, a 22.6 for Dan Taylor. That's almost a good 7-8 tenths of a second he's eaten out of Keelan Irwin. So Irwin's going to have to find something here. There is Johnny Towers then, number 17. Perhaps just not quite comfortable in these conditions. It looks like he's just struggling a bit. He's won races in the wet before, he's won races many in the dry, but the in-between, maybe just trying to pick up as many points as possible. Dan Taylor's certainly not afraid of these conditions, and you would feel, I suppose this is a little bit stereotypical of me to say, but Keelan Irwin, hailing from Ireland, has probably raced more than once or twice in the slippery conditions. As just in the background there, we saw bit of a slide from one of the stock twin riders. Here is Dan Taylor then onto the start finish straight, just putting a lap on Dean Ratcliffe, and the last lap flag is out. He has a look under his arm there to see how far behind Keelan Irwin is. Now I'm not even sure if from that angle he would have seen where Keelan Irwin was, because Keelan was sort of hugging the pit wall. So does he maybe think he's got a bigger lead than he has got? And again there, he looked around and saw the back marker. So, well, we'll see. It's the last lap. Heading into turn one, there was 85, Shelley Pike. And here is Johnny Towers, the championship leader as we entered the round. There's Neil Schofield and then Ben Tolliday. So on this final lap, looks like Dan Taylor should have everything under control. Not too long left for him as Towers goes around Chapman Curve and onto the back straight. He'll be just praying to see the checkered flag at the moment in this race. There is Dan Taylor then as we head now into the bomb hole. He won't want to do anything too silly here with a back marker up ahead of him. Keelan Irwin has closed this gap down on the final lap quite considerably, and he darts up the inside. Dan Taylor cruising a bit here on this final lap, might just have to be a bit careful as they head out of Murray's. Keelan Irwin not quite close enough there as they head onto the start finish straight. Dan Taylor has had absolutely no idea what has just happened on that final lap. Luckily enough for him, he will take the checkered flag, but that was a bit close for comfort. Taylor wins it from Keelan Irwin, who just goes to show you that you can indeed fight till the checkered flag and still maybe get that performance in. He takes second spot. Dan Taylor it is then with the win as he points over towards Keelan Irwin there and mentions something about his bike moving all over the place. Greg Madeira takes third, wins the Stocktwins class, ahead of Aaron Bradley, Alex Platt and Teo Papadopoulos. Dan Taylor then the winner from Keelan Irwin and Greg Madeira, and it's Greg Madeira winning the Stocktwins ahead of Aaron Bradley and Alex Platt.
Stocktwin champion from last year, Supertwins this year, great win.
Yeah, it was a long time coming, wasn't it? Flipping heck. Yeah, new bike. It's taken a hell of a lot of use getting used to. Just suspension. In the dry, it's getting there. In the wet, I'm just struggling. Thankfully, I just try and keep it smooth in that one. Steady start. Just started pulling them back in and took the lead. Brought back 4 laps to the end, and back markers was playing a bit of a sod in that one. But hey, we got it in the end, didn't we?
Well, that was a tight run thing, but have you got some sponsors?
I have, yeah. I've got a lot of people to help me. The sponsors, Direct Commercials, Shane Brocklehurst Transport, SSP, Bass Tyres. They help me out fantastic. I've got the loyal supporters, shall we say. My dad, he helps me as much as he can with suspension. He puts the bike. I can just ride the thing, and I've just got to get my head sorted with that. The whole family, the Schofields, Molly May, my missus. So yeah, thank you, all of you. Thank you very much.
Greg, fantastic race, winner of the Stocktwins and 3rd place overall, so you're a Super Twin star as well.
I didn't even know I'd got 3rd place over with the Super Twins until right at the end. Just now I was like, oh my god, I didn't even know I got that. But brilliant race in the Mini Twins. It wasn't easy. There was 3 of us, me, Aaron and Alex, really going for it, and the track conditions, as you know, they were drying out. Me and Aaron chose the wet front, dry rear. Seemed to work out pretty well. We pulled away from the others, and at the end of the race I was able to give it a go and push into it, but across the line it was fingernail close. So luckily I got the drive and managed to win it, so good points for the championship. I'm over the moon with that.
That is superb, mate. And who have you got to thank?
I've got to say a big thank you to my stepdad Ray. He does all the work on my bike for me, so he does a brilliant job of it. My mum and everyone like that, everyone that helps out, anyone that's put anything in, a big thank you for what you've done.
Join us again after the break here at Snetterton. It will be time for the Monex Thundersport GP1 race. Snetterton, round 3 of the 2016 championship with Thundersport GP. The Monex Europe Thundersport GP1 grid is here. Over 40 riders have qualified for this one. Some of Britain's best. Josh Day, it is there on pole position. The Crank Racing Kawasaki rider is looking to make up some points to try and hunt down this man, Liverpool's Lee Williams, who leads the championship. Further back there is Lee Wilson. He's been on the podium a few times before. A gap on the front row of the grid, but some sturdy competitors in this class and a few familiar names from TT races that you'll recognise, as well as British Championship. On board with Josh Day, away from the line. He's gone very well indeed as they head into turn 1. That's Dave Jackson just up behind him, number 156, former Supermoto man, British Championship man, raced a bit with Thundersport as well. Lee Williams has moved up ahead of him, but this is a good rear view from Josh Day then, who has the advantage. Lee Wilson has also got away well. Phil Crow is out there. Phil Crow, the of course former GP1 champion. There he is in fact, just making his way onto the back straight on the PCR BMW, but it's Josh Day that has the advantage from championship leader Lee Williams. Craig Neve, another rider to keep an eye out for, number 4, as they head around Nelson Corner and up towards the bomb hole. So many talented riders all the way through the field here, and a few new names for you as well to Thundersport, but not necessarily to you if you follow racing around. There's number 33, that's Michael Neves, race winner in GP1. Then Jonathan Lodge, likewise. Paul Charman is out there, number 9 on the Yamaha. Sportsman riders out there, by the way, for clubman licence holders or national race licence holders that have never raced at a British or World Championship event. Paul Charman at the moment leads that battle ahead of Nick Edgley. This is the fight out front though, we're going around. Well, certainly the long way round there. Lee Williams just outbraked himself a bit into Montreal, the championship leader, and now tries to get back on terms with Josh Day. They're into the 110s already. The lap record's already gone. It's been demolished here. So we just see 164 Matt Stevenson going a bit wide. So Dave Jackson is out there. Yesterday we had Dave Johnson, Australian rider, on the grid, who raced in British Championship, of course races in the TT as well. Nice to see Davo out there, although I think it was him that was missing from the grid at the start of the race. On board with Josh Day then, looking back at his title rival Lee Williams, getting very close there. Lee Williams, the reigning Formula 600 champion, moving up to the thousands this year. Josh Day, a regular in the British paddock, of course, at Superstock 1000 level, and now trying to get himself the GP1 title here at Thundersport GB. A bit of a tyre war going on as well between 4 or 5 of the riders in this championship, and so it really will be fascinating to see who comes out on top. There's 2 races here today for these guys in this show, in the GP1 category, and then they will of course get themselves prepared for Cadwell Park to be round 4 of the championship. On board again then with Josh Day, looking back at Lee Williams. Gary Johnson's also out there, mentioned him a little while ago, number 70. Of course, Gary Johnson on the reactive engineering BMW, he's getting himself all prepped up, ready for the road racing season ahead and the TT. Gary, who's raced at Thundersport a few times now, and of course British Championship rider. Be interesting to see how he gets on at the TT. A lot of riders getting themselves ready for that. As we see there, Lee Williams, just a bit of a wobble on the exit of Murray's. There is number 33, Michael Neves, fighting it out with Mike Brown and Jody Lees. Curtis Rothwell's just outside the top 10. There you see Lodge and number 85 Lees. There's Paul Charman then, number 9 on the Yamaha R1, the leading Sportsman rider. Just up ahead on circuit there of Mike Brown and Phil Crow. And once more we go back to the Prime Factors Racing BMW of Michael Neves, who's been tweeting and Facebooking about all of his excursions abroad, testing, road testing motorcycles for MCN as ever. Lovely bloke, Michael Neves, off the circuit, and also a sturdy competitor on it. Won a race at Rockingham last year in this class and has often found his way very close to the podium in a number of other races, and has been on the podium in a number of other races as well. He's got himself in a competitive race here. Out front then it is Josh Day, looking like he's going to be tough to catch here. A 1:10.2 for Josh Day on that lap, and that is a good 0.6 quicker than the lap record that was held by reigning champion Curtis Wright. Crossed the line there. The riders all inside the top 10, jostling for position, but no one catching Josh Day here. Lee Williams will just try and stay in second place now on the high-tech Kawasaki, but that's quite a big lead now that he's got. Williams fought him earlier on, but unfortunately he's not been able to stay on the shirt tails of Day. I'd love to say that Day leading is a relative of mine, but sadly cannot claim that one. No relative at all, which is probably why he's winning the race. Into the bomb hole we go. We see Gary Johnson going incredibly well. Craig Neve, Dave Jackson. There's Josh Day here on the Crank Racing Kawasaki, looking to get himself more points. There is Gary Johnson, just up ahead of Neves and Neve. And then Dave Jackson just behind them, 156. Dave Jackson, of course, who was it 2011-ish, came into the championship for the first time, having not raced on the tarmac, an ex-Supermoto rider, and was racing against this man here, Phil Crow, the 2010 champion. And there is Gary Johnson, number 70 from Brig on the reactive engineering BMW, leading a strong field here at Thundersport GB. Josh Day just had a bit of bad luck here and there so far at the start of this season, which meant that he came into this weekend a little further behind in the championship than he was hoping, but he's making up for that here and almost collects Richard White there one of the back markers in the race. This is Craig Neve, number 4, who's now up ahead of Michael Neves, but it's still Crank Racing rider Kawasaki man Josh Day that has the advantage. The last lap flag is out. We understand that Crank Racing and Josh have just sealed a deal with Michelin to do the Irish Roads and the TT. So Josh will be getting himself prepared for that. Here's another man that we'll see at the Isle of Man in the not too distant future. But they're going to have to go some way to catch Josh Day here. He's lapping half a second quicker than Lee Williams on every lap, and Gary Johnson at the moment is over a second down on the time that we're seeing here from the race leader. Michael Neves there, just putting a lap on Jonathan Panther. And there's Chris Barnes, number 21, on the AP Broom Racing Kawasaki. Chris has fought for many a podium in the Thundersport GP1 class in his time. So here we go then, just under half a lap to go for Josh Day. A few threats at the start of the race from Lee Williams, but all in all, a pretty perfect race here from the rider that hails from Swindon. And he will take a precious 25 points here, which will really put his championship back on track. He's just coming up here to put a lap on Richard Blunt, who's out on his golden era superbike, Kawasaki. He has a look over at him as well as he just moves past him. Lee Williams will take second. It is the win then for Josh Day here at Snetterton. Second place will go to Lee Williams there, number 94. And then a bit of a wait for third place rider. It will be Gary Johnson who takes third place there, ahead of Craig Neve, Dave Jackson and Michael Neves. So the Monex Europe Thundersport GP1 Race 1, Josh Day the winner by 5.5 seconds. Here's the top 3 on the podium, Day, Williams and Gary Johnson. And in the Sportsman class, it is Paul Charman the winner from Nick Hedgley and Gary Woodward.
Josh, tricky start to the season, but look, you had a great day yesterday, and maybe we're back to the plan.
Yeah, hopefully, Sid. I mean, we've had a bit of bad luck, haven't we? Well, so we've consistently been really quick, always pretty much top of the timesheets, and the lads always work really hard to get the bike as good as they can, and we just had a little bit of bad luck with being disqualified and then a crash, and then the bike broke, so I mean, we've lost 75 points, but we're getting those points back. Lee's obviously doing a good job, just keep bringing it home in second. He was quick out there then, but you know, we'll take that after the weekends we've had. Pole, 2 wins so far, and hopefully later we can do the same. The boys are getting quicker, we're getting a little bit quicker, but they're getting a lot quicker, so it's going to be close in the last one. But no, just thanks to Mark and all the team, Rock Oil, Van Sport, Jorex, Zoburn, Crank Racing obviously, all my personal sponsors, Rd3, Performance, North Gloss, Rock Oil themselves. Do you know what I mean? They all put a big effort in to get us here, so big thanks to them. And it's Andy, the mechanic's birthday today, so that's for him, and more importantly it's the missus' birthday, so happy birthday, and I'll give you a trophy later.
Fantastic win again, great day yesterday, you must be well proud.
I'm absolutely over the moon. We're getting closer to the elite guys, that's the plan, to start battling with them guys and hopefully getting podiums, but that's a long way off yet, but the bike is absolutely amazing. I mean, we haven't touched it until this weekend from Brands Hatch. No gearing, no suspension setters or anything. Luckily we've had Phil Seaton here, he's been riding, done a few little tweaks for us, and it's made a hell of a difference, so we're going forward. And we're going forward out all the time, so it's absolutely mega. I'm just over the moon and loving racing.
You must have some people to thank then.
Yeah, I'd love to thank Accrington Auto Bodies, Dunsop Trout Farm, Chris Moore, like I say, Phil Seaton Tuning, Mum and Dad and my wife Kayla.
Join us again after the break, ready for the GB Racing 600 Sportsman Elite. Here we go then, it's the GB Racing 600 Sportsman Elite, round 3 of the 2016 Championship. A class for all types of 600, tuned, stock. There's Jordan Rushby, take a flashback to a crash that happened here just last year. Horrific crash at Snetterton. So, well, we'll see how happy he is to look at the circuit in a moment. There's Aaron Clifford, former Super Teen and 450 rider. Nice to see Aaron out there on a Kawasaki. And he's looking pretty quick as well. He's on pole position ahead of this race and just up ahead of Jordan Rushby, number 2 on circuit. Here we go then. Red lights are on. Oh, that looked like it might just be a jump start there from Jordan Rushby, number 2. Away from the line we go. He has a look to his right. There's Johnny Towers, but Rushby gets the whole shot from number 19, Aaron Clifford, and Johnny Towers. We're looking back from Jordan Rushby there. We'll keep an eye on the time screens in case that flashes through. I think it might. There's Aaron Clifford, the Irish rider, who already moves up at the inside of him into Montreal. There's Johnny Towers. 157 is Morris, and that's Joel Williams, who's just been who's gone down there, number 3, Joel Williams, and he took a hard hit down on the ground there. He clipped the back wheel, I think, of Charlie Morris, and the red flags are out. And so that will be the end of that. We will have a fresh restart here at Snetterton. Well, hopefully Joel Williams is going to be okay. As soon as we have any info on that, we'll let you know. I'll tell you who I think is the luckiest out of all that is Jordan Rushby. That looked like a certain jump start earlier on. Now he's got another crack at it. No jump start this time. Away from the line we go. And we begin a brand new race. Aaron Clifford on pole position will get the whole shot this time from Jordan Rushby. There's Charlie Morris in third, number 157. Just up behind there is Aaron Clifford, so Rushby now leads as we head into Montreal. Competitive field as always in the 600 Sportsman Elite. There is number 72, we just saw Max Wadsworth. He's been on the podium here before with Thundersport. Nick Edgley is out there. William White, number 47, are on board with Sergei Kravchenko. We were on board with him, of course, in the wet at Donington last time out, and he made up so much ground, and unfortunately it all went wrong for him. But here he is. He certainly likes his first laps, does Sergei. He's on a flyer already. There we see number 73, Sam Osborne, as well. Just going through. Teammate 2, 157. Charlie Morris there in third. Johnny Towers, he's in fourth. Then it's Kaplan, you've got Kravchenko, Ibbotson as well. Darren Ibbotson, the reigning pre-national champion. There he is, number 50. Number 9 is Chris Gray, the Formula 400 runner-up from last year. But it's Rushby that leads from Aaron Clifford. Aaron Clifford looking to try and get himself on the top step. He's been racing that 600 a bit at the start of this year, but not with Thundersport, so the chance here to keep an eye on him. I know he's been testing his luck out at the British Championship as well. Onto the back straight we go as he tries to hunt down Jordan Rushby. Rushby, you certainly can't miss him with that bright yellow helmet, the rider from Beverley. Aaron Clifford from Rathfay in Northern Ireland. There is number 17, Johnny Towers from Coton and Elms, the Team Edge RST Racing Honda. Oh, in the background there, that's Chris Gray, who's just gone straight on. Didn't quite manage to tip it right into Nelson Corner. He should rejoin from there. So it is Jordan Rushby that still has this advantage. There is Johnny Towers in the championship coming into this event, as we see there, number 50, Darren Ibbotson, just to make up a place on Paul Rogers, 2 pre-national 600 riders from last season. It was Charlie Morris that leads both the Elite 600 Championship and the Sportsman Championship as well. So Morris having a good season so far and is still in the hunt for this race. There he is, 157, just up ahead of the experienced Johnny Towers. Tom Leonard, also a rider that's got himself back out into this class, although I must confess I can't see him on the time screens at the moment, but Tom was out there last time out. Number 34, we just saw there, is Aaron Sylvester from Horncastle. Oh, Johnny Towers getting angry with himself. He's missed his braking zone, has he? Down at the back straight there. Luckily for him, there's a runoff, but it's going to cost him big time. He loses third, he loses fourth, he loses fifth and rejoins in 6th place. It looks to me then like Johnny Towers has just missed his braking point there. As we see back to the front, it is Jordan Rushby who's making light work of a few back markers. He's got Aaron Clifford there for company. There's Nick Edgerly just up ahead of fellow Triumph rider William White on the Get Low Racing Triumph. So across the line we go once more. Jordan Rushby still got it there on the Yamaha ahead of Kawasaki rider Aaron Clifford. On board with Rushby now. Good move that from Aaron Clifford. He just goes up the inside into Montreal. So Rushby will now try and cut back onto the back straight here, the Bentley straight, and get into the slipstream. This will give us a good idea as to what the comparison is on speeds of the bike. Doesn't look like there's a lot in it. Rushby thinks better of it. Settles back into second place. Aaron Clifford then it is that leads this one from Jordan Rushby. Coming into this weekend, Jordan Rushby was second overall in the championship, and that was nicely done. You have to be brave to commit to a move into the bomb hole, and Rushby gets it. Screaming around Coram curve now, Rushby. Short squared on the throttle there then before going down the gears into Murray's, the final left-hander, and onto the start-finish straight we go. They're pulling out on Charlie Morris back in third place. But Morris is on for some decent points for the championship. 2 races for the GB Racing 600 Sportsman Elite class here at Snetterton. Next round, of course, for the Thundersport Championships is Cadwell in Lincolnshire. Those races taking place the end of May. That's bank holiday weekend, by the way, if you're thinking of popping along. Then it'll be over to Alton Park, then Rockingham, then Anglesey, then back to Donington for the GP circuit, and Cadwell again in October for the finale. There's Brendan Mallender, number 6. Brendan not perhaps in a position in this race where he would really want to be. Regular point scorer Brendan Mallender, but he's struggling just outside the top 15 at the moment here at Snetterton. You're looking at the 2 riders there fighting for the lead. Further back, 51 and 71, Sergei Kravchenko and Paul Rogers. We were on board with Sergei a little earlier on. He's in the top 10, the Sportsman rider. Top 3 Sportsman riders at the moment are Charlie Morris, Nick Edgerly and Johnny Towers. Across the line though for the outright win. We're on board here with Jordan Rushby. Up the inside into Ritchie's. Big and brave from Aaron Clifford. Brilliant stuff there. And he moves into first place on this final lap. Aaron Clifford into Montreal. He's gone a bit wide there. He looks around and sees Jordan Rushby. Rushby with an opportunity now to get into the slipstream, and Aaron Clifford can't get it hooked up there on the power. Down the back straight we go. We're on board with Jordan Rushby, and there is Aaron Clifford, and he's going to make Aaron Clifford go the long way round. It's going to be last of the late breakers. Down the back straight, brilliantly closed out there by Aaron Clifford, and there's a back marker getting his nose right in this as well. Ross Walker, you don't want to get involved in this one. That could be it. That could be the move that has won Aaron Clifford this race. Jordan Rushby wasn't able to get through, and unfortunately Ross Walker there just getting himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. This is the battle further back for the top 10 finish. Kravchenko, Rogers. We've got also 73 there. Oh, dearie me. That is Sam Osborne, who's just gone down at an awkward place of the circuit as well. Hopefully he's going to be okay as he walks away, but the checker flag is out. Aaron Clifford wins from Jordan Rushby. We'll then have to wait a bit for third. Here we see it. That was close. Charlie Morris just getting third place there and winning the Sportsman battle ahead of William White. It was Nick Edgerly then that finished in 5th and Johnny Towers in 6th, though. Great race there for Aaron Clifford and some decent championship points for Jordan Rushby. Top 3 overall then, Aaron Clifford, then Jordan Rushby and Charlie Morris. And in the Sportsman class, it is Morris again with a win, ahead of Nick Edgerly and Johnny Towers.
Aaron, fantastic race, and you stalked it, and then made your move at the end. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a lot better than yesterday. I was leading the race and took the front in the hairpin, and I was surprised that I'm still in pole position, so got a good race and fell back a bit at the start, but managed to pull him back and get him on the last lap, so very happy.
You look like you hunted him down. Have you got some sponsors to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to just thank all my sponsors and my dad and David McGuinness for helping me with the bike all weekend. It's been a great weekend so far, so hopefully we'll do good in the race too.
Charlie, another win. It's a great year for you.
Yeah, it's fast. A lot of fast people in this class. I'm quite happy I'm finishing where I am.
Absolutely, it's brilliant. And you got some people to thank?
MSG Racing, Dan, Gavin, Lisa for the bike they put together. It's so good, I wouldn't be here without them. And everyone else that supports me, really.
We'll be back after the break with race 2 in the Avon Tyres Super Twins and HMT Racing Stocktwins. Race 2 for the Avon Tyres Super Twins and HMT Racing Stocktwins here at Snetterton, round 3 of the 2016 championship. It's dried a bit since earlier on. Johnny Towers looked a bit off colour, so maybe here with the sun coming out he might fancy his chances. John Simpson's back as well. John Simpson, number 71, looking to get himself back in the championship frame again. Dan Taylor, the race winner from earlier on, will fancy his chances. There's Greg Madero as well. So the red flag gets walked away, which means that we are ready to start racing here at Snetterton, and away we go. And very, very even from the off there, but it's Keelan Irwin who gets away. Well, he's so good at these starts. And at Snetterton, it is Keelan Irwin, the Irish rider, that manages to get himself out in front early doors, ahead of Johnny Towers. There's Dan Taylor trying to make up some time early on as well, underneath Greg Madero. John Simpson's third, Aaron Bradley's fourth. A bit further back there, number 19, we saw Neil Schofield. On board here with RAF rider James Fields. Onto the back straight we go. Nice view of his backside there as we head down in towards Brundle and Nelson. It is 17 Johnny Towers that's managed to get out in front now, so clearly a lot more confident in the dry conditions. Johnny Towers, Keelan Irwin second, John Simpson third, Aaron Bradley fourth, then it's Greg Madero. Further back there, a few contrasting lines from one or two riders, 98 and 99, Rob Pragnell and Lee Winters. There was 25 as well. That's Stuart Shulchevsky. I'm sure, Stuart, I've probably pronounced that wrong, and so you can collar me for that one. Onto the start-finish straight we go. 28. There is Teo Papadopoulos, then ahead of 43 Platt. So that should top 8. As the leaders head past the start-finish straight once more. Johnny Towers then on the number 17 Team Edge Racing Kawasaki. Didn't look comfortable earlier at all, but a very different looking character now. He's already down into the 117s, which is very impressive. The rest of the pack in the 18s and 19s. And Johnny Towers here could build an unassailable lead. In second place, it looks like it might be the only battle we can look for at the moment, with Keelan Irwin and Dan Taylor, the riders that fought it out for the win earlier on. Of course, Dan Taylor won the race, but on that final lap, just eased off a little bit too much. It almost became a bit of an embarrassment, but luckily for Dan, he managed to wake up just in time. There's Neil Schofield, number 19, part of the Schofield clan, of course, and there is Dan Taylor, who's very much part of that clan now, going up the inside of number 69 Keelan Irwin and moving up into second place. These are all important points for the championship. Johnny Towers blasts away then, ticks off another lap, and Keelan Irwin there getting himself up ahead of Dan Taylor once more. There's Taylor then. They've got a bit of company here with John Simpson in on the act as well. We just saw there Jordan Rushby on pit wall cheering on, I think, Aaron Bradley. Good friends off circuit. Jordan Rushby, of course, we just saw a little while ago on the podium in the GB Racing Sportsman Elite 600 race. This the fight for second then. Johnny Towers is already home and dry. Look at him flying around this Snetterton circuit, number 17, and that is his lead as he heads into the bomb hole. Second, third and fourth only just now exiting Nelson corner, and Keelan Irwin taking a bit too much exit there at Nelson. John Simpson is now up into 4th place ahead of Dan Taylor, so Dan Taylor for now drops down into 4th place. Sorry, Simpson's up to 3rd. There is Schofield, number 19. So, Keelan Irwin, fellow Irish rider just behind him, John Simpson. Then we have number 26, Dan Taylor. Here's Alex Platt and Neil Schofield. They've just switched positions momentarily. Those guys are fighting it out for 8th and 9th place. Just up ahead of them, a bit of a lonely one so far for Teo Papadopoulos. And then ahead of him is Greg Medeiros and Aaron Bradley. And then you're looking at the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th on your screen now. Dan Taylor back past John Simpson. Could be quite a close championship this, because they are all taking it in turns to win races. Towers lost a chunk of points in that first race earlier on by finishing in 7th, and so there was that opportunity for Taylor and Keelan Irwin to close up. We'll get a glimpse of what the points look like at the end of Snetterton after this race. Towers will not be caught here, and barring any mistakes, he's going to clear off and win this by a considerable amount. There's Greg Medeiros then, number 60. Greg Medeiros trying to chase down Aaron Bradley for the Stocktwins Championship this year. And of course it is Aaron Bradley that leads Greg Medeiros in this race as it stands. There's Medeiros on your screen, number 60, up ahead of 28, Teo Papadopoulos, who at the moment would be on for a podium finish in the Stocktwins ahead of Alex Platt and Neil Schofield. This is the battle for 2nd place outright then, and it's an important one in terms of the championship. Bit of traffic there for these guys to deal with. This will be interesting. Now, how will they cope with that? Oh, Keelan Irwin really trying to squeeze underneath one. Dan Taylor almost capitalised. It didn't quite work out. They've all bunched up a bit, and that might have helped out John Simpson, who just seemed to have fallen back on that last lap. There's your race leader, already through the bomb hole, as 2nd, 3rd and 4th break into Brundle corner. There's Keelan Irwin, quite a tight approach into Brundle. Dan Taylor's finally found his way through the traffic, and John Simpson has got through as well. John Simpson running out of time though if he wants to get himself on the top 2 steps. Onto the start-finish straight we go. Johnny Towers then getting himself tucked in. You wouldn't think that he'd got a huge lead. He's still putting in the efforts here, and he's just put in the fastest lap of the race, so still working overtime out front. It's the fight for 2nd place on the final lap then. Irwin, Taylor and Simpson. Simpson has got a lot of catching up to do there from 4th place, and unless these two really make a mess of things, Simpson's going to struggle to find the podium. What will happen here between Dan Taylor and Keelan Irwin then? Into Montreal, the first overtaking opportunity, or arguably the second after Ritchie's, is gone. Keelan Irwin there, almost sitting up a bit mid-corner, and that might just help him out. On the back straight we go. Not a lot to split them in terms of outright speed, as Johnny Towers gets on with the business of winning this race. Down the back straight, Dan Taylor not close enough here to make a move, but there's some traffic up ahead. In fact, the traffic up ahead is Dan Taylor's trusty old mate, Lee Winters, the lion tamer. I wonder if he'll have a look over his shoulder and give his pal some help. Around the bomb hole we go, and these guys have got to find their way past the back markers. Johnny Towers, in the meantime, what a fine display this has been from the Team Edge RST rider. He cruises across the line. A mammoth victory there for Johnny Towers, but who will take 2nd place? We look and we look and we wait and we wait, and it will be Keelan Irwin that holds on to 2nd place then in the end, ahead of Dan Taylor. John Simpson misses out on a podium, finishing 4th. Aaron Bradley is 5th and wins the Stocktwins to extend his championship lead ahead of Greg Medeiros. Top 3 then. Johnny Towers, centre of your picture, with Keelan Irwin on the left and Dan Taylor on the right in the Stocktwins. Aaron Bradley the winner from Greg Medeiros and Teo Papadopoulos. And now let's look at the championship points. Johnny Towers still in charge, but there's a long way to go in this season. Taylor, Irwin and Simpson could all close that down. Aaron Bradley there in 5th and leads the Stocktwins ahead of Greg Madero. Jason Markham is 3rd, then it's Mac Dixon, Teo Papadopoulos and Ben Tolliday.
Aaron, winner today again on TV Day. You pulled the same stunt as you did before.
Yeah, it's just getting the consistency really. Like last year, obviously, I had quite a few crashes, so it's getting on the ride, just getting points really. If you're leading the championship, just finish every race and try and build on the championship lead. But obviously, race wins always help, don't they? So.
Well, absolutely. Snetterton's a bit tougher than a lot of people think, of course. Have you got some sponsors to thank?
Yeah, I've got RTR, Dan Hegarty, who's helped me out massively to get my bike up and running for Snetterton. Without him, I wouldn't have been here. So a massive thank you to Dan Hegarty. Mum and Dad for all the help they give me. Just everyone that's helped me really get me here, and everyone at Thundersport, all the marshals, Bernadette, Dave, just everyone, the whole team really. So, yeah.
Well, Johnny, earlier on it was difficult conditions and you couldn't mimic this incredible lead that you got today like you did yesterday, but great race this.
It was, the conditions were more difficult today. This morning was incredibly challenging. We were first race out, didn't know if it was wet or dry, and I went for wets, which was a bad call, but managed to salve some points, get round, and then the second race, with it being dry, I just said I need to get stuck in and just really, and I had a really good ride. Yeah, Ali Grant as well. I'm like a broken record. He's given me a really good bike again this weekend. It worked really well. And the other thing I want to say is my daughter Alice at home has been baking for me today. So when I get home, she said if I win, I'll get some cakes. So Alice, I hope she's getting the cakes ready. Thanks very much.
The Great British Bake Off, well done.
British Bake Off, yeah. Her hero is Mary Berry, so yeah, she's good. She's really good.
Excellent, well done, Johnny.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll be back after this short break with race 2 from the Monex Europe Thundersport GP1. It's Snetterton, it's round 3 of the 2016 Thundersport GB Championships, and it's the Monex Europe Thundersport GP1 race coming up here. Josh Day earlier on blasted away from the field and picked up a crucial 25 points for his championship. As he mentioned, he's had a bit of bad luck, but he cannot shake off this man, Lee Williams, who came into Norfolk with the championship lead, number 94. Further back there, you can see Lee Wilson, number 80, Craig Neve. Ooh, a few dark clouds up in the sky there. We'll keep an eye out for that because the riders have started this as a dry race and have all started on dry tyres. There's a gap on the front row. Dave Johnson was here yesterday, not so today. Look to the lights, they go out and away we go. Josh Day then, number 2, winner earlier on. Into turn 1, just ahead of Lee Wilson. Brilliant start there from Lee Wilson on the Willie Wilson Racing Suzuki. Superb stuff from the Derby Phoenix rider. There's Jonathan Lodge, who's slowly but surely trying to get to grips with his machine up ahead of Craig Neve. A few riders getting pushed out wide there though into Montreal. We should take this opportunity as well while we get to the start of this to just send our best wishes to the reigning GP1 champion Curtis Wright, who in testing on Saturday here at Snetterton on the in-competition Aprilia came off and broke both of his wrists. That's a nasty outcome for Curtis, and so we send him our best regards. He'll be missing most certainly for Cadwell Park, most probably Rockingham as well, Alton as well, as we see Phil Crow there sitting up, maybe running into some trouble early on here. Phil Crow, of course, one of many riders getting himself prepared, ready for some road racing here this summer. Out front then, Josh Day it is that leads from Lee Williams. The pair of them all going away. Who's fallen there? Down at 867, who's gone down? Mike Brown, and we've got to stop to this. Red flags are out. The race will be completely restarted. Fresh start. Forget what you've seen in part 1. Here we go then, a few more gaps on the grid as we get to the end of this weekend here at Snetterton, and Josh Day is going to have to do it all over again. Number 2, the Crank Racing Kawasaki rider. Earlier on we saw a brilliant start from Lee Wilson from row 2, and there he is, number 80 on the right of your picture. Good start from him again. There's Dave Jackson, number 156, and Lee Williams has just been swallowed up a bit in the early stages of this one. Gary Johnson's gone up the inside of him as well. We're on board with Josh Day, who's now in second place, I believe, because Lee Wilson must have got to the front into Montreal. And there's Gary Johnson moving up into third, perhaps, yes. So now Josh Day leads. He's got past Wilson. There is also further back 164 is Stevenson. 26 on that Yamaha is Richard White. Look out for Paul Charman, number 9. He's just in around 8th or 9th place at the moment on that beautiful looking Yamaha R1, and as he said in his interview with Sid earlier, he's getting closer and closer to this bunch. There's Michael Neves, Jonathan Lodge, then Charman, Phil Crow. Whatever problems he had earlier, looks like he's managed to get back out on circuit again and fix them between the race getting red flagged and restarted. Josh Day then it is that leads this, number 2. Just as he did earlier, Lee Williams has done very well on this opening lap to get himself back up into second place and in contention now for the win again. There's Curtis Rothwell, number 5. Number 77 then go through John Fisher. Nice to see John out there, Pendragon Racing rider, a regular a couple of seasons ago in the GP1 field. Day leads as they exit Ritchie's up towards the Scary Tree at Montreal Corner. Used to be known as Sears, of course, the old Snetterton layout, and it's now Montreal for this Snetterton 200 layout. Not the same layout that they use at British Championships, so maybe for the likes of Gary Johnson, this is new. So we will see how some of these guys get on. Oh dear, there's a faller and someone looking a little bit hurt. That's Tustin, Michael Tustin, the familiar purple and white bike, and that's a shame for Mike, the MTR Kawasaki rider, who's a Sportsman rider coming along very nicely in this class, is down and out. Here's your Sportsman Championship leader, Paul Jarman. Coming into this weekend, actually, he was locked on points with Tustin, so that would actually do him a few favours, although we obviously send our best regards to Michael. He looked like he was in a bit of pain there. Josh Day then, number 2, leads from Lee Williams. He was right what he said to Sid in the interview. They are getting closer and closer to him as we cross the line and tick off another lap into Ritchie's corner, the double apex right-hander. A few lumps and bumps through there, then ever so slightly downhill into Montreal. Get your braking zone right and change direction of the machine onto the really important Chapman curve, especially on these big bikes. Get the slipstream if you can, get the power on. It all adds up to extra miles an hour at the end of the straight, and then braking into Brundle. Josh Day just ever so slightly wide there into Brundle corner, and in second place now Lee Williams, coming under attack from Gary Johnson, no less, former British Championship front runner and regular TT podium taker. He'll be looking to repeat that, of course, when he gets out racing in the Superbike class and Super Stock class at the TT coming up very soon. Onto the start-finish straight we go. All helps with the racecraft, this, for Gary Johnson. He's raced at Thundersport a number of times. He's not phased for the championship. He's always impressed by some of the young guns coming through, and isn't afraid, as quite a well-known rider, to mix it up with 1 or 2 new names. So it is still Josh Day. Josh Day on that last lap, a 109.916, the first rider we've ever seen into the 109s at the Snetterton 200 circuit, and that is almost a second under reigning champion Curtis Wright's old lap record. Astonishing stuff from the Crank Racing Kawasaki rider. Oh dearie me, that is not where you want to be on this circuit there. Dave Jackson getting it a bit wrong on the exit of Nelson, and somehow manages to rejoin. Luckily for him, it'll only take a corner or two to clear that tyre up. Top 3 are through. There's 4th place Lee Wilson ahead of Dave Jackson. Dave Jackson on the power nice and early out of Murray's. Lee Williams, having come under attack from Gary Johnson, has just settled back into second now. There's Wilson, Jackson and Neves in 4th, 5th and 6th. It's Craig Neve then just behind Michael Neves. Here is Johnson then in 3rd place on that Reactive Engineering BMW. It's the high-tech Team Willow Kawasaki just up ahead of him of Lee Williams, the Liverpool rider, who again here, even if he doesn't win the race, is looking to try and limit the damage that Josh Day does to him by picking up 2nd place, and he could well leave here as championship leader still. There is Derby Phoenix rider Lee Wilson just up ahead of Dave Jackson, Michael Neves and Craig Neve. Behind those guys is Jonathan Lodge, then it's Jody Leeds and Paul Charman, Curtis Rothwell, Phil Crow, Rob Hodson, Gary Woodward is currently 2nd in the Sportsman class ahead of Nick Edgley, and they're outright just inside the top 15. There is Curtis Rothwell, a former Mini Twins champion with Thundersport GB, just up ahead of former GP1 champion Phil Crow, and they're chasing down this man here on that Yamaha, Paul Charman, who just gets more and more confident as each race goes by. Gary Johnson in 3rd, just dropping into the late 110s at the moment and unable to stay with Lee Williams, who in turn has been able to match the pace of Josh Day out front in the last few laps, although he'll do well to close that gap of 2 or 3 seconds down, because Josh Day doesn't look like he's put a foot wrong really as yet. Here's the battle for 4th, continuing. Lee Wilson, Dave Jackson, Michael Neves. All of those riders on BMWs. 2 Kawasaki's out front. There is Wilson then, again. Craig Neve at the back of that group. Kawasaki rider, the Coolmac Flexi Hydraulic Kawasaki rider, Craig Neve, who won't be able to attend every round this season, but is hoping to be as competitive as possible. Craig will be looking forward to Cadwell next time out. Good rider at Cadwell is Craig Neve. As if he can make it. He did say he was going to miss 1 or 2 rounds. Maybe Cadwell is one of them. Come to the closing stages then of this 2nd Monex Europe Thundersport GP1 race. There's so much talent in this field this season, but Josh Day and Lee Williams really have been the standout performers. You got the impression, didn't you, from Josh Day earlier? He just feels very, very confident at the moment, and he could be on to pick up another trophy here in race 2. There's Curtis Rothwell, just trying to close up on Paul Charman in the latter stages of this race. Paul Charman can't lose his Sportsman lead, even if he loses the spot there to Curtis Rothwell on the closing stages of this race. Across the line we go. Last lap for Josh Day, Lee Williams and Gary Johnson. Tail ender there is number 105, James Vevers. Then we have this battle for 4th, which looks like it could go all the way to the wire. Lee Wilson and Dave Jackson. Here's Josh Day then, just going through the motions. He can't afford to completely roll off on the final lap. I mean, he's got a handsome lead, but it's only, what, 2 or 3 seconds clear of Lee Williams this time, unlike race 1. Up towards the bomb hole here at Snetterton, and then just a couple of corners left now for Day to pick up a full house of victories for the first time in 2016. A win yesterday, a win this morning, and now 3 wins out of 3 for Crank Racing Kawasaki rider Josh Day. Lee Williams flirts with the grass there on the exit of Murray's, but he will take a crucial 2nd place. And I think, if my maths are right, he should just hang on to the championship lead with that. Gary Johnson takes 3rd place there on the BMW, and it's Dave Jackson who on the final lap got the job done on Lee Wilson. Michael Neves there in 6th place, managed to finish ahead of Craig Neve, Jonathan Lodge, Jody Lees and Paul Charman. Top 3 outright then there, Josh Day, Lee Williams and Gary Johnson. And the Sportsman class, Paul Charman, Gary Woodward and Nick Edgley. Let's have a look at those championship standings then. Lee Williams it is that still has the outright lead, 26-point advantage going into Cadwell Park. Josh Day just nudges himself ahead of Craig Neve then, with Michael Neves in 4th. And in the Sportsman, Paul Charman with a 59-point advantage over Michael Tustin, who sadly didn't finish that race, with Matt Stevenson in 3rd, then Ash Stone, Sonny Martin and Richard White. Don't go anywhere, the final race of the show coming up after the break, the GB Racing 600 Sportsman Elite. The GB Racing 600 Sportsman Elite, their second race here at Snetterton, as Jordan Rushby makes his way onto the grid. There you can see Jordan with bright helmet design there, number 47, and you look at that grid and you can see a lot of gaps, and that's because we started the weekend in the GB Racing 600 Sportsman Elite here at Snetterton with 38 riders. We've only got 19 left. A high rate of attrition so far this weekend, and a number of riders biting the dust. We send our best regards to all of them, but an opportunity here for a few riders to inch closer to the podium. Out front though, it's Jordan Rushby that's up ahead of Charlie Morris, and these two are 1st and 2nd in the championship overall. We're on board here with Sergei Kravchenko, who likes to make his moves at the start of races and does again, up into 4th place there for the number 51. A few riders running out wide there. Number 101 further back, Curtis Drew, former Aprilia 450 rider. So he's managed to get himself out on a 600 here. He'll learn a lot in this race, that's for sure. Just into 2nd place goes William White. So it's Rushby that leads from William White and Charlie Morris. Charlie Morris entered the weekend as the championship leader, but he could do without Jordan Rushby picking up 25 points here. It's in the background, it's like Chris Gray, who again is struggling with the track limits over at Nelson Corner. Rushby it is that leads then down into Murray's from William White, Charlie Morris, then Sergei Kravchenko. Number 99 is then up ahead of 50. It's Steve Kaplan, one of our many Royal Air Force Motorsport Association riders. And then Darren Ibbotson, the pre-national 600 champion of 2015. So heading out of Richie's corner. We're now looking at Sergei Kravchenko on the Motors Grouper Racing Yamaha R6, and he's going to make up another place there, because that was Charlie Morris going wide into Montreal. So Sergei has made his way into 3rd place. Look at the lead that Jordan Rushby's built up over the first few laps here. He's got down to business right away. We are quite a distance off lap records here, but the weather's been a bit shady this afternoon here at Snetterton. Oh, Darren Ibbotson looked like he might have just had to sit up there and go along the grass maybe. Yeah, he has, he's fallen back, and there he is, and it's a few riders in fact that have had to go on the grass there. Was that number 19 as well? That wasn't Aaron Clifford, was it? It was Aaron Clifford as well. So, well, interesting stuff here. A few riders. Am I seeing a few wet tyres out there as well? It's raining a bit here at Snetterton in this second race. It was declared a wet race, and so some riders have gone for the wet, some the dries. You can see from the riding styles that one or two tiptoeing around there. Full wet's the order of the day there for Sergei Kravchenko. So that's why riders are just getting themselves onto the grass, and that's certainly why Jordan Rushby here has done very well to get himself out of trouble early on. There is Charlie Morris, currently just falling back through the pack a little here, which will cost him his championship lead if this man goes on to win. Ian Barry on the Kawasaki is making good progress as well. He's flying through the pack. Grant McIntosh on the Donkey Box Racing Triumph as well, going well. There's Sergei Kravchenko now, around the bomb hole, up towards Coram Curve. He's chasing down in 2nd place there, William White. You can see the rain there on the screen. Sergei Kravchenko does not mind a bit of precipitation, does he? This is brilliant stuff from the number 51 as he goes past 47. So Kravchenko here is on for a podium. He's in 2nd place, further back there. Oh, that's Robert Goodall just going slightly wide and struggling. Jack Thompson we saw there as well, number 5. 65 is Callum White. Number 11 is Grant McIntosh. Here is William White then in 3rd place. Kravchenko just up ahead of him. Onto the back straight now. William White, former pre-national runner himself from Watford on the Get Low Racing Triumph. Jordan Rushby, number 2 from Beverley on the Russia's Racing Yamaha. And Sergei Kravchenko, well, I haven't quite established where Sergei hails from originally. I will find out. It is Latvia. We thought it might be Latvia. We can confirm it is Latvia. But he is down in the programme. He's hailing from Woodford Green. It doesn't quite have the same ring to it as Latvia does, but the Latvian going very well, and here he is at the moment, number 51. You can see the rain coming down there, chucking it down over at Murray's. The moment he's up ahead of William White. They're not going to catch race leader Jordan Rushby. There is 115. That's Sam McFarlane from Wellingborough, just up ahead of Darren Ibbotson. There is 99 Kaplan. And there is number 11 Grant McIntosh on that Donkey Box Racing Triumph. Now then, William White closing back again on Sergei Kravchenko. Just seeing whether or not all of these riders have opted for wets or whether one or two have opted for dry tyres, because we're seeing quite a big range and wide range of different lap times here. On board with Sergei Kravchenko as he brakes and loses a place to William White into Brundle Corner there. You could see and hear how gentle he was on the brakes and going down the gears into Brundle Corner then, Sergei Kravchenko. So, well, he won't mind following William White for a bit. It's sometimes nice to have a guinea pig up ahead of you. A different helmet design from the last race that we're seeing there from Jordan Rushby. I was sure that he was wearing a yellow helmet in race 1, and it's a green helmet in race 2. William White has a look over his shoulder here. Some big points on offer for these riders. Grant McIntosh there bravely makes up 2 places in 1. He's a man on the move at the moment. He got past. He's flying through the packs. Let's just have a look at his lap times, Grant McIntosh. He's lapping about 3 seconds quicker than those around him at the moment. So he really is making excellent progress. There is Darren Ibbotson. Further back is number 39, Ian Barry. I say further back. He's made great progress as well. So he's on for some big points. So the high attrition rate early on in the weekend will provide a few surprising results here and there. Although you wouldn't say Jordan Rushby winning is a surprise result. As he looks over his shoulder, he's in the mood to cruise round now. And in these conditions, who can blame him? You don't want to be pushing it too far when there's a bit of rain out on circuit and the grip levels are not quite as high as you'd like. Charlie Morris is there up ahead of 50 Ibbotson, and there is Grant McIntosh. He's about to pick off another. The pre-national 600 champion of last year, no less. The last lap flag is out, so just a little while longer to wait then for Jordan Rushby, and a 25 points, which, well, I'll tell you what, if Charlie Morris loses out to Grant McIntosh in the last lap here, Morris would finish down in 6th place, which would only be 10 points. That would be 15 points that Jordan Rushby would make up in one hit. As it stands already, Jordan Rushby should take over the championship lead with a result like this. There was Charlie Morris. McIntosh is not going to find his way past Morris on this final lap, but he has got past Darren Ibbotson. So it's a good effort there from McIntosh to get himself up into the top 6 overall. There is Morris in 5th. He was the championship leader. He's sensibly decided just to try and claim some points here. Sergei Kravchenko, though, I believe this will be his first podium of the season so far, Sergei. So the Latvian rider on for 16 points. But it's been a brilliant ride. After such a big crash here at Snetterton last year, Jordan Rushby has returned to Norfolk and has done the business. He will take the win at 25 points ahead of William White. Well done, Jordan. A great job done there. With so many riders going down this weekend too, that will help out an awful lot in the championship picture. Let's get confirmation of the top 6 then. Jordan Rush beat the race winner by over 14 seconds. Sergei Kravchenko third, and the leading Sportsman rider. Ian Barry was fourth, Charlie Morris fifth, Grant McIntosh in 6th. Top 3 outright, Jordan Rush beat William White and Sergei Kravchenko, and Kravchenko's smile is even wider there as he picks up the Sportsman glory ahead of Charlie Morris and Grant McIntosh. In the championship then, as we thought, 135 points for Rushby ahead of Morris. Then we've got Joel Williams in 3rd, who crashed earlier this morning. Darren Ibbotson, Liam Shelcock and William White in the Sportsman. Charlie Morris well in charge of that one. Ahead of Johnny Towers, Brendan Mallender, Sam McFarlane, Aaron Sylvester and Nick Edgley.
Serge, after a cruel race at Donington where you led and then you crashed and now you won one, you must be delighted.
Yeah, I'm very delighted, very surprised. It's been quite tough times as well, especially those conditions. When we got on the track, it was actually dry, so I knew that the wet tyres are going to be eating so much. So I was just thinking about finish the race and just try to be in the lead. That's it.
Well, you did really well. Have you got anybody to thank?
Yeah, I've got to thank Dave Clark from High Fibre supporting me in providing the best fairings. My dad, Sergei Kravchenko from Motors Group of Racing, Motors Group & Co. My whole family, my life, Katusha, my son, Sergei, my mum, my sister, everyone, all my best mates, who supported me. Thank you very much. My first podium.
Jordan, well, certainly was tricky conditions before you went out, but it looks like you went out on dries anyway.
We actually put a dry rear in last minute because everyone was going out on wets, and we thought, well, it can only get wetter, so if I lead the first couple of laps, try and get away, try and get as much of a lead I can, and even if the rain came, obviously with a big enough gap, I could maybe still hold it, and it worked.
Excellent. Well, I mean, you had a good race earlier. I mean, I know you didn't win it, but anyway, have you got some people to thank?
Yeah, everyone on my levers, Astra Trading, Andy at Intergear, Aaron Bradley, my mum, dad, family, Dr. Colour for the helmets. That's it. Cheers.
That's it from us here at Snetterton then. Round 3 done and dusted. Round 4, well, you'll have to join us for that one. It's Cadwell Park up next.